What's up? What's the deal? What's the deal? How y'all feeling today? Today I'm gonna do a reaction to the top 15 killers. Let's get this shit cracking. All right, I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. Let some people get in here for a second. You know what I mean? But what's the deal, chat? How y'all doing? All right, I'm gonna do my due diligence. But I hope everybody's night's going pretty good so far tonight. Too quiet though. I respect it. Bro. But chat. I'm just. Oh, what's up to the 3 people that's tuned in? How y'all doing? What's up to the? Yo. What up, Kayla? Hey, if y'all can drop a follow. You know what I mean? If you're not already following me, copy this link real quick. Hold on, chat. Let me go do my thug thing. Thug deal. All right. All right. But yeah. Nah, here we go though. We about to start getting it going. But what's up with y'all? How y'all feeling today, Twitch? Yeah, we about to react to this video right quick. Roll this little blunt real quick. I wanted to tell Kayla, let Brianna know we live in effect. Tell Bree come turn up. Come get it. Come on. Come get this chat going. But yeah. Oh yeah. We about to do this little reaction. Okay. Hell yeah, bro. We on to this it's the top 15 California killers. Put people on to, like, you know what I mean, like a little bit of California history, because you know I'm about that California shit. You know, I'm Mr. California. Now, Mr. California. I'm so Cali, man. But yeah, I'm just rolling up real quick. I'm done rolling up. I start this video. But that R. Kelly video did yesterday. That shit had me singing all the. They got the package. Package. Hey. Hey, that shit had me singing that shit all day today. Package. Alright, but yeah, we about to start this video real quick though. You know what I mean? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Let's get this thing on and crazy hacking.
Appeared to be a model citizen for a long time. He served in Vietnam, studied criminal justice, and worked as a police officer. On the outside, he was a responsible man, husband, and father. But behind his mask
package.
lurked one of the most violent serial killers in
US history. Dying laughing, bro.
As a child, he experienced violence and witnessed tragic events that left a mark on his psyche. His tendency toward aggression manifested itself as early as adolescence.
Did he say his name yet?
And cruelty to animals.
He looked like a killer.
His series of crimes began in Visalia with more than 100 thefts and 1 murder, and soon escalated to rape and murder throughout California.
All through California.
He would break into homes at night, tie up and intimidate his victims, sometimes torturing them for hours. D'Angelo combined cold calculation and sadistic tendencies in his actions. He stalked his future victims, called them in advance, and left obscene messages. His particular cruelty was evident in his attacks on couples, where he humiliated men and raped women, intensifying the atmosphere of terror.
Yeah.
The police tried to catch him for decades. Dozens of departments worked together on the case.
So what happened?
But to no avail. It was only with the development of DNA technology in 2001 that the rapist in the East Side and the night killer were linked to the same person. Later, genetic genealogy led investigators to D'Angelo, and he was arrested in 2018. The evidence included secretly collected samples of his DNA, which matched biological traces from the crime scenes.
That's crazy, though.
The trial was historic.
DNA from
prosecutors.
Look how young he was, bro. Look how old he was. That shit's crazy.
He pleaded guilty to 13 murders and dozens of other crimes. In 2020, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
The nigga already lived his life. Nigga, he don't care.
Became an example of how technology can bring justice decades later. His cases changed the approach to investigations and accelerated the development of DNA databases.
That DNA is crazy, dog.
The horrors that can be hidden in the everyday life of the perfect neighbor. William George Bonin, born in 1947, was a serial killer and sexual predator known as the Freeway Killer.
The Freeway Killer, I heard of him.
At the time of his arrest, he had a complex criminal record for sex crimes.
What's up with all these niggas being like rapists and shit?
Institutions on numerous occasions. Between 1979 and 1980, he was found guilty of at least 14 murders, and he himself later confessed to 21. Outwardly,
he
was a man with a complicated biography, but in reality, he was a cold-blooded sadist who operated from a van, where he held, raped, and tortured his victims. Factors that led to the violence included early traumatic experiences in the family, systemic failures in rehabilitation, and military service.
See, it's the motherfuckers that be in the army and military, they be all fucked up.
Towards sadism, antisocial
nothing against them, but something against these motherfuckers, but not
after previous arrests and treatment.
Army people.
He was released, which created institutional vulnerability.
No, I've never heard of the John Long story.
Prevent the escalation of criminal activity.
No, I've never heard of it. Where's he from?
The series of murders itself followed a pattern, luring hitchhikers and teenagers into a van under the pretext of sex or work, tying them up and torturing them with sophisticated methods using improvised tools, then strangling them and dumping their bodies on highways.
Oh, you talking about the black dude, right?
Involved in the crimes. The victims
with
were
the dreads.
Young
they killed his whole family.
Law enforcement agencies combined the efforts of the counties, compared fibers and biological.
He was like fucking his kids and all that. I mean,
and obtained
molesting his kids.
Accomplices. The arrest and the evidence found allowed for numerous charges to be brought. Bonin's confessions accelerated.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up though.
The trial revealed the weight of the evidence and conflicting interpretations of the motives, ranging from deep childhood trauma.
And it happens all when they kids, though. You notice that?
The jury returned a death sentence.
Never sue the person who hit you after a car accident. I just got $100,000 for an accident I was in last month.
Which was carried out in 1996 by lethal injection. Bonin's case became a painful lesson about the shortcomings of supervising dangerous repeat offenders and the need for coordinated work between the police and social services, while the victims' families were left with lasting trauma.
Damn, 21 people is crazy, bro. Like, imagine he couldn't sleep at night. That's why he confessed.
Randy Stephen Kraft, born in Long Beach in 1945, showed great intelligence and leadership skills from an early age. He grew up in a strict family environment, and his early successes at school and involvement in politics created an image of a determined young man. However, behind this outward prosperity lay an inner duality, an awareness of his own homosexuality,
See?
attempts to hide it,
Chat. It's always
and
the
a
weird
rift between
motherfuckers.
social expectations and personal identity. In adulthood, Kraft began to lead a double life. On the one hand, a respectable employee and partner. On the other,
Sleeping
a
with men.
sadistic killer. His series of crimes began in the early 1970s and continued for more than a decade. His victims were young men and teenagers whom he picked up in his car
It's fucking
and
crazy.
plied with alcohol and tranquilizers.
That's why y'all don't. Like,
This was
y'all
followed
can't-
by torture, sexual assault and murder, most often by strangulation or beating.
Damn.
Many bodies were found near highways, and particular cruelty was evident in the mutilation
Look,
and
and
abuse of the
when did
victims.
they catch him? Let's see
A
when they
characteristic piece of evidence
Let's
was the
look how old he
evaluation
is.
card, a list of 61 encrypted entries containing the names and characteristics of his victims. Investigators spent decades comparing
I must have
evidence,
been around some bitch ass niggas
photographs of naked and lifeless bodies found in Kraft's car, the personal belongings of the victims, and similarities in the methods of murder became the key to solving the case. His arrest happened by chance in 1983, when a patrol car stopped his vehicle for drunk driving and found the body of Marine Terry Gambrell inside. The trial, which began in 1988, lasted more than a year and became one of the most expensive in Orange County history.
Orange County. That's
The prosecution presented hundreds of pieces of evidence and dozens of witness testimonies. The defense tried to dispute Kraft's connection to the murders, pointing to other serial killers who were active at the same time. However, the jury found him guilty of 16 murders, and the judge handed down a death sentence. Kraft remains on death row, denying his guilt. His case became a grim symbol
Well, they don't
of
do
the era
that. They don't do
highway
lethal injection in
killers in
California no
California,
more. So he's just gonna wait
and
to
show
die.
how difficult it is to investigate crimes that span time and space. Society learned a lesson about the need for interagency cooperation, and the memory of the victims remains a painful reminder.
It seems
the
like
limits
Navy
of
SEALs and
human
shit. The
cruelty.
motherfuckers be sick, bro. In their head.
Charles Manson, born
Hey,
in
this
1934,
dude, I read his book,
grew
bro.
up in
It's,
difficult circumstances.
you can see
His
the
mother
pictures
was an
of all the
alcoholic.
bodies and everything.
His father unknown, and his early years were spent in poverty
Crazy.
Prison
Y'all ever heard
visits.
about him, chat?
and humiliation. As a teenager, he began stealing and was sent to reform school,
I heard
where he was subjected
he was
to
getting
violence.
more male in
Spent
prison
most of
than
his youth in prison,
everybody in the his
learning
whole
to
little
manipulate
prison
people
area.
and hide his own aggression.
They used to get big
By
packages of
the
mail.
age
I
of
heard.
30, he had experience as a pimp, petty crook, and convict. But it was in the 1960s that he found a new role for himself, that of a charismatic guru among hippies.
Y'all
Gathering
want-
a group
I
of
want to do his
marginalized young
thing.
people around him, Manson created the so-called family, where he
Charles
preached a
Manson.
mixture of ideas about love, apocalyptic prophecies, and racial war. He presented
look,
himself as the
lit.
chosen one, hinted at his similarity to Christ, and assured his disciples that he was preparing them for the coming cataclysm. Under the
He died in
influence of drugs
Bakersfield.
and his charisma, young
Bakersfield
people
Hospital.
became submissive and ready to carry out any order. In the summer of 1969, Manson instructed his followers to commit a series of murders. On the night of August 9th,
He killed the Folgers people.
they broke into a house
Not
on
him,
Cielo
but the
Drive
people.
and killed 5 people, including pregnant actress Sharon Tate.
Stabbed the
The
shit
next
out of
day,
him.
the La Bianca couple became victims.
Oh, they did them dirty.
These brutal crimes shocked America. Panic swept through Los Angeles, and the word helter skelter became a symbol of chaos.
They tried to make it look like a
and
race thing.
The investigation tracked down the family after one of its members confessed. Linda Kasabian's
His name is
testimony and
Tex.
evidence
Tex. That
led to
nigga
the
Tex
arrest of
turned on him.
Manson and his followers.
One of his mans.
At the trial, prosecutor Vincent Bulosi presented them as a religious sect, ready to unleash a race war.
Told you.
The jury found Manson and his followers guilty and initially sentenced them to death, which was later commuted to life imprisonment. Manson's story became a lesson in how charisma and manipulation can turn vulnerable people into instruments of violence. This trial changed the perception of cults and sex in the United States, and Manson's image became a symbol
Hold on, my bad shit. Let me go on and skip this shit.
So, Jackie Hill Perry.
of the dark side
Oh,
of the
oh.
1960s counterculture.
I know somebody that was in prison with him.
Richard Ramirez, born in 1960 in El Paso, Texas,
He ain't from
grew up in a
California,
family with an abusive father and an unstable atmosphere. As a child, he suffered brain damage and epilepsy,
though. Damn.
and by the age of 10, he had started using drugs. His
10?
cousin, a Vietnam veteran who showed him photographs of atrocities and murders, had a significant influence on him.
That shit wild.
Ramirez witnessed his cousin shoot his wife, which permanently distorted his perception of violence. As a teenager, he became addicted to LSD, became
Damn.
interested in Satanism,
Ass.
and began to combine sexual fantasies with cruelty. After moving to California in the early 1980s, he began to support his drug addiction by burglary. From April 1984 to August 1985, his crimes turned into a series of attacks.
I want to know if, like, you, like, your
He would
older
break into
people
houses
should
at
remember
night.
this.
Kill,
Like
rape,
your
and
aunts,
torture his
your
victims
uncles,
with
your
electric
moms, your
shocks,
dads, your grandma, and
machetes, or knives.
I want to know if they remember these shits.
He was unpredictable.
These shits. This shit.
His victims included both elderly couples and children. Humiliation and sadism.
Like, it'd be kind of
were an
scary,
integral
low
part
key,
of
if
his
a
attacks,
serial killer was just
which
running
caused
around.
particular
Like,
horror
right now,
among
bro, it'd
survivors.
be kind of crazy, wouldn't it?
The investigation
How would y'all
was
react?
extensive.
Like, what would y'all
The
do?
police compared ballistics, shoe prints, and fingerprints. The breakthrough
Shit, it's
came
nothing
when
you can do.
Ramirez's
Just be
fingerprint
ready,
was found
nigga.
in the stolen car. His face was published in the press, and on August 31st, 1985, Los Angeles residents recognized and detained him themselves,
Damn.
beating him until the police arrived.
Damn.
The trial began
That's fucked
in
up. You couldn't
1988.
even.
At the very first hearing, he raised his hand with a pentagram drawn on it and shouted, "Hail Satan."
Oh, shit.
In
Yeah,
1989,
we're locking his ass
he was
up.
found guilty of 13 murders,
God
5
damn.
attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. The judge called his actions evil beyond human comprehension and sentenced him to death.
Damn.
Ramirez never repented. His charisma attracted female admirers, and he even got married in prison.
See,
However,
people be loving
he was
dudes
never
like that,
executed.
bro.
In 2013, he died of lymphoma in San Quentin prison.
That's
His
where
story
what's
is
his
an
name was at
example of
too.
how childhood trauma,
That's where
drugs,
Charles
and a
Manson
cult
was
of
at.
violence can give rise to one of the most terrifying figures in U.S. criminal history.
Damn.
Edmund Emil Kemper III was born in 1948 in California into a family with serious conflicts. From an early age, he showed cruelty to animals.
Y'all notice it's only
played
been
strange
white
games
men.
involving death. His parents' divorce and his particularly domineering and humiliating mother reinforced his alienation. Kemper began to
Damn, that's a
demonstrate
big
frightening
ass
fantasies
dude,
at
though.
an early age.
Or she just
He
hella
killed his
little.
grandmother and grandfather at the age of 15.
He killed both of them.
After staying in a psychiatric clinic, he managed to convince doctors of his normality and was released. Retaining a deep hatred for his mother and suppressed sadistic desires, his series of murders began in 1972. He picked up female students hitchhiking in the Santa Cruz area, took them to secluded places
Raped him, killed
where he
him.
killed them and committed necrophilic acts.
What the fuck does that mean?
The
Raping
bodies
them?
were then dismembered, and the
Necrophilia.
heads were often kept as trophies.
Oh, he cut their heads
6
off.
young women and 1 schoolgirl.
Oh yeah, he a big ass white boy.
Kemper
Look at him.
himself admitted that each victim became a surrogate mother. In April 1973, he achieved his ultimate goal. He killed his mother, Clarnell, and her friend,
What the
then
fuck?
called the police and voluntarily surrendered.
His grandma, grandpa, and his mom.
Investigators were struck by his calm confessions and detailed descriptions. He cooperated,
He
showed
weird.
them where he had disposed of the bodies, and explained his motives, linking them to his hatred of his mother.
Look how big that nigga is.
The arrest put an end to the panic among California students, who had been terrorized by reports of a hitchhiking maniac. At his trial in 1973, the defense tried to prove insanity, but psychiatrists found him fully aware of his actions.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Kemper demanded the death penalty, but under the moratorium, he received 8 life sentences.
Damn, man. Never
Kemper's
wrong.
case became
Never.
pivotal in criminal psychology. It was his interviews that helped the FBI develop methods for profiling serial killers.
His story showed how a combination of mental disorders, childhood trauma,
What
and
the
systemic errors
fuck?
can
He
give
killed
rise
his
to a
grandma,
monstrous figure
grandpa.
whose crimes became a symbol of cold
Mom.
calculation and deep inner hatred.
Should have killed his dad too for having him.
Ray Del Sims,
Oh, here goes somebody.
born in
else.
Oklahoma in 1935,
Other
showed a
than white
propensity
person.
for violence from a young age. He committed his first serious crime in 1965 when he raped a 70-year-old woman during a
What
robbery.
the fuck?
After his imprisonment, he moved to Fresno,
Oh
got
shit.
married, became a father, and found work as a cook. Outwardly, Sims appeared to be a normal family man, but at home he was sadistic. His wife recalled that he humiliated and choked her during intimate moments.
Damn.
In the mid-1970s, Fresno was rocked by a series of brutal murders. Girls and young women disappeared and were later found strangled and raped. The first victims were Kathy Stark and Elizabeth Ortega,
Like, these motherfuckers be sick, bro.
acquaintances of the Sims family.
These motherfuckers ain't from
In
California.
1975 and
They just did the shit in
1976,
California. Now, one of these
Robert
motherfuckers
McCallum
been from
and
California.
Eva Hernandez Lucio.
Oh, the last
were
dude.
killed.
Yeah, he was.
All of them lived near Sims. And the method of the murders pointed to the same perpetrator.
Weirdo.
The culmination was the death of 17-year-old Janet Hirschtain in 1977. The investigation led the police to a man who called himself David McGowan, who turned out to be Ray Sims himself. He was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. For many years, Sims was believed to be responsible for only one murder. But advances in DNA testing changed the course of the case.
Damn.
In 1996, blood samples were taken from him. And in 2001, analysis showed a match with evidence found on the bodies of other victims.
More
This
than one.
confirmed that Sims was a serial killer.
It's crazy.
In 2008, he was found guilty of Ortega's murder and sentenced to a second life term.
Fuck, bro.
The death penalty was not applied due
You
to
should've
a
just
national
left him alone. He already
moratorium
had a
in
life term.
the 1970s. The remaining charges were dropped, as he no longer had any chance of release. Sims' story became an example of how technology can solve old cases
See, that's
and
crazy.
prove a criminal's guilt decades later. For the residents of Fresno, his name will forever remain a symbol of the fear that reigned in the city in the 1970s. Cleof Prince Jr. was born in 1967 and served in the U.S. Navy in his youth, where he was court-martialed for theft in 1989. After a
State and local authorities
Come on,
in California have approved millions of dollars in compensation for individuals.
Where
short
at?
sentence, he was released and soon moved to the Buena Vista Gardens housing complex in San Diego.
San Diego.
Outwardly, he looked like an ordinary young man, but in 1990, he revealed himself to be one of California's most brutal serial killers. From January to September of that year, he committed 6 murders that went down in history as the Claremont murders.
Yeah.
All of his
6.
victims were young women
Motherfuckers
who
be
were
out
at
here
home
sick.
during the day. Prince entered through unlocked doors and windows, attacked them as they were getting ready to take a shower,
Pay for the ads.
raped them, and stabbed them
Oh,
to
for
death with a kitchen knife.
on YouTube.
He stole jewelry from his victims, wearing some of it himself or giving it to his girlfriend, turning the murders into a trophy hunt. Among the victims were college students, residents of neighboring
Yeah, I'm about to.
complexes, and a mother and daughter who were killed on the same day. The police created a composite sketch based on an eyewitness description and conducted the largest manhunt in San Diego history. In February 1991, Prince was caught after attempting to break into a house.
Stupid.
He was identified by neighbors, and later DNA analysis confirmed his connection to the murders. The investigation established that
Imagine
he had
that.
stalked
You
some of his
think you
victims
finna go
after
home,
visiting a
right?
sports club.
And then you think you getting
trial
away with all
began in
this shit
1992.
in 2001
Prosecution
come,
presented
nigga,
evidence.
all your DNA just
DNA,
start coming. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
eyewitness
whoa, whoa.
testimony,
And they
and
just
stolen.
said, keep your hands
In
there when you
July
think you're gonna go.
1983, the jury found him guilty of 6 murders and more than 20 other serious crimes.
Damn.
In November of that year, he was sentenced to death.
And this the reason why motherfuckers
Today,
be getting like
Cleof
busted
Brennan
upside the
remains
head
on
so
death row
much.
at San Quentin prison.
Because
His case
everybody
will
go to San
demonstrate the
Quentin. Have you
power of
noticed that?
DNA
All
evidence.
them serial killing motherfuckers go
It
to
served
San
as a
Quentin.
warning about how an
Charles
unlocked
Manson,
door
the
can lead to
first dude that
tragedy.
we seen, him.
Society saw that even in everyday life, there could be a predator capable of destroying families and causing a wave of fear throughout an entire city. Kenneth Alessio Bianchi, born in 1951 in Rochester, New York,
Damn.
showed signs of psychological problems from an early age.
Why the fuck you ain't staying in New York,
Seizures,
motherfucker?
bedwetting,
Bedwetting.
aggression, and pathological lying. His childhood was marred by constant visits to
Damn, that's
doctors
fucked up.
and difficulties at school. After the death of his adoptive father, he became withdrawn. But
Yeah,
as a
crying in
teenager,
court,
he
did
began
all
to
that
exhibit
extra shit.
sexual
Now look at it.
deviations. His attempts to get an education and join the police force failed, and his life gradually descended into crime, petty theft, fraud, and working as a security guard, where he
You know when
stole jewelry
motherfuckers
from
be
press
doing
windows.
shit like this. Yeah, I
In
always wanted to be a
1976,
cop. You lying out
Bianchi
your
moved to
ass,
Los
nigga.
Angeles and became close to his cousin, Angelo Buono. Their joint activities began with pimping, but soon
Pimping and
turned into a
panhandling.
series of kidnappings and murders. From October 1977 to February 1978, posing as police officers, they kidnapped girls and women, took them to Buono's workshop, where they raped, tortured, and strangled them. A total of 10 people fell victim to them in Los Angeles. Their
Him and
methods
his
of murder
cousin.
included strangulation, electric shock,
Haha,
and even
bedwetter.
chemical experiments.
Bedwetter,
Panic gripped the
bedwetter.
community. The unknown Hillside Strangler paralyzed the city.
Here's
After moving to
hillside.
Washington, Bianchi attempted to act independently. In January 1979, he killed 2 female students, but left behind a lot of evidence and was quickly arrested.
Damn.
During interrogations, he tried to feign a split personality, introducing Steve Walker and Billy. But
And
experts
Billy.
proved his deception.
And Billy.
In the end, he pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Buono. The trial became a media sensation. Bianchi was described as a manipulator and a sadist. He escaped the death penalty,
Damn.
receiving 2 life sentences with the possibility of parole. He subsequently made several
2
attempts
life
to be
sentences
released,
and possibility of
but
parole.
was denied each time. Most
That shit sounds
recently in
stupid.
2025.
Oh, he's still
The story
alive?
of Bianchi and Buono became a symbol of the brutality of the 1970s, and a lesson in how charisma and manipulation can hide monstrous cruelty. Their case influenced the development of criminal psychology and methods of investigating serial murders. The Hillside Stranglers is the nickname given by the media to criminals who terrorized Los Angeles from October 1977 to February 1978.
Damn.
Initially, it was believed that there was a single serial killer, but it later became clear that the cousins Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono were behind the series of murders.
That shit's weird. Why
Their
would
victims
y'all,
were 10
you and
girls
your cousin
women
come
aged
together and be
12
like,
to
hey,
28,
let's go
whom they
strangle
lured
and
by
rape 'em.
pretending to be police officers. The crimes were particularly brutal. The victims were
Y'all
kidnapped
sick.
and taken to Buono's
Them
workshop
niggas
in
sick.
Glendale, where they were sexually assaulted, tortured, and strangled. After that, the bodies were thoroughly cleaned and dumped in the hills around the city, which
Thoroughly
gave rise
clean.
to the name of the case. At first, street sex workers were killed, but later the victims were girls from middle-class families.
Were you sexually abused by staff, guards, or other adults in a juvenile detention center?
Were you?
Many victims have already received
A payout.
which caused real panic. Women were afraid to go out at night, and newspapers published warnings daily. The investigation yielded no results for a long time. The police had no evidence other than signs of strangulation and identical murder methods. The situation only changed in 1979, when Bianchi was arrested in Washington for the murder of 2 students. His carelessness left a lot of evidence, and investigators linked him to the series of murders in Los Angeles. To avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Buono.
His own, like,
Buono's trial in 1983
Y'all was
became one
both,
of the most
like,
high-profile
doing
in
this shit.
California history. Despite Bianchi's attempts to feign a split personality, both criminals were found guilty. Bianchi received a life sentence, and Buono was sentenced to life without parole. This case became an example of how two
Life
seemingly
sentences.
ordinary men were able to paralyze an entire city by exploiting the trust in the police
Yeah, like,
and
y'all
the
on some weird
defenselessness
shit.
of their
Look at him.
victims.
It also demonstrated the importance of interagency cooperation and psychological expertise,
Do you think they sitting in jail
becoming
with
one of
each
the
other?
key pages in the history of American
That shit ain't-
criminology.
This shit is stupid. Somebody should have killed their stupid ass.
Lauren Herzog and Wesley Sherman, known as the Speed Freak Killers, grew up in the small California town of Linden.
Linden,
Childhood
California.
friends, they shared a passion for hunting and fishing, and as adults, they became addicted to methamphetamine.
Is addicted
Herzog
to
was
meth.
more withdrawn and dependent on others, while Shermanstein had an aggressive, quick-tempered personality. Together, they turned their friendship into an alliance based on drugs, violence, and cruelty. Their crimes began in the mid-1980s and continued for more than a decade. The men went on so-called hunts, killing random passers-by for fun. Their victims were men and women, teenagers and adults, who were shot, raped, or stabbed to death. The bodies were
Weird,
dumped in
motherfuckers.
mines,
Mines?
abandoned wells, and ravines.
That's crazy.
One of the first known victims was Cheryl Wheeler, a schoolgirl who disappeared after meeting Shermanstein. Later, Cindy Vanderheiden disappeared, whose remains were found in a well years later. Characteristically, both killers denied their own guilt, shifting responsibility onto each other.
It was him.
The
It was him.
investigation began in
It
the
was
late
both y'all.
1990s when the blood of one of the victims was found in Shermanstein's car. Soon, both were arrested. During interrogation, Herzog partially confessed and revealed details that coincided with the investigation's findings. In 2001, Sherman was sentenced to death, and Herzog was sentenced to 78 years in prison. Herzog's sentence
78
was
years
later
is life,
reduced to
too.
14 years due to violations during the interrogations. His release sparked protests from the families of the victims, and in 2012, he committed suicide after learning that Shermanstein was revealing the location of the bodies.
Oh, shit.
The trial against Shermanstein was accompanied by dozens of testimonies from women who had survived his violence. The prosecution described him as a ruthless sadist,
Took his own life.
while the defense attempted to challenge the reliability of Herzog's confessions. Nevertheless, the sentence remained in force, and Sherman is still on death row in San Quentin. This
Other
case
dude took
exposed
his
the
life.
weaknesses of the system. The late
shit's
discovery of human
crazy.
remains and evidence of dozens of possible victims never led to the full disclosure of all the episodes. For society, the story became a symbol of how drug addiction and impunity can breed monsters. And for the families of the missing, a constant reminder of their loss and the injustice they suffered.
Roger Reese Kibbe, better known as the I-5 Strangler, was born in 1939 and led
The
what appeared to
I-5
be
Strangler.
a normal life, working as a parachute technician. However, behind this mask lurked one of California's most brutal serial killers. His
That's what they
propensity
said
for
about the
violence
last one.
manifested itself as early as the 1980s. He preyed mainly on women who were giving rides to hitchhikers or who happened to be near the highway, which made his crimes unpredictable and particularly dangerous to the community. The first known victim was Lou
Damn,
Ellen
look how
Burrow,
old he is, bro.
who disappeared in 1977 on her way to a job interview. Over the years, Kibble honed his signature. He tied women up with parachute cord, taped their mouths shut, and cut their clothes with scissors, leaving jagged, recognizable marks. after sexually assaulting his victims. He would strangle them and sometimes cut off their hair to hide the traces of tape. His arrest in 1987 happened by chance when a victim screamed and a police officer happened to be nearby. This episode marked the beginning of the end for Kibi. The investigation into the murders lasted for decades. In 1988, he was convicted of the murder of Darcy Frackenpole, and in 2009, to avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty to 6 more murders and received 6 life sentences.
Bro, what the
It was not
fuck?
until
You should just.
2011 that DNA confirmed that one of his victims was Lou Ellen Burley. For the families of the victims, this brought some closure to a terrible story. Kiba died in 2021 in Mole Creek Prison. He was strangled by his cellmate Jason Badrow, a self-proclaimed Satanist who motivated the murder as revenge for all women.
That shit crazy.
Badrow received another life
Old
sentence.
ass man.
Kibi's story became a symbol of how difficult it is to identify a normal person who is capable of committing a series of brutal murders. His crime served as a reminder of the risks
Nigga choked
associated
his
with the
celly got
vulnerability of
killed.
women
Look,
on
he
the
got.
roads, as well as the
2021.
fact that even decades later,
He probably wanted to
justice
die.
can catch up with a murderer.
Joseph Nasso, known as Mad Joe, was born in 1934 in Rochester, New York, and for many years appeared to be an unremarkable man. A U.S. Air Force veteran, amateur photographer, and petty thief, he led a solitary life, living at various times in San Francisco, Sacramento, and Reno. His strange behavior and dark hobby, photographing women in degrading poses, created an image of an eccentric but secretive man. Behind his ordinary exterior lurked a serial killer and rapist. His crimes spanned decades. The first murders date back to the mid-1970s, when young women such as Roxy Ashby and Carmen Colon were strangled.
There's a lot of weird motherfuckers though.
In the
like,
1990s, he continued his attacks, killing Pamela Parsons and Tracy Tafoya. A characteristic feature of Nasso was that he chose victims with the same initials.
that's weird. Like you do too much research, bro.
Know this one trick.
You did too much research, bro.
Which gave rise to a theory of a connection with the so-called alphabet murders in Rochester, although no evidence of this was found.
He weird.
Nasso tied up the women, strangled
AS,
and then photographed them.
AV,
using
VI.
various parts
Like
of
he
staging.
want their names. Like,
These grim sessions became
Stupid.
his signature.
nigga did a lot of too much research, bro.
For a long time, investigators were unable to gather sufficient evidence. The breakthrough came in 2010 when a rape diary was found during a search of his home, in which he listed the women and
Hell yeah,
locations
hell
associated
yeah.
with his crimes.
Appreciate you.
At his trial in
Appreciate you
2013,
still, Kayla.
prosecutors
Brienne,
presented photographs
J.
and records
Fats.
that confirmed the horrific nature of his actions. The jury found him guilty of 4 murders. Nasso was sentenced to death in California, but the execution was not carried out due to a moratorium. He remains a symbol of how a man with an unremarkable appearance can hide monstrous crimes for decades. The Nasso case reminded society of the importance of carefully investigating old cases and the vulnerability of women, especially those on the margins of society.
Samuel Little, born on June 7, 1940, in Georgia, grew up in a dysfunctional family.
Look like it, bro. You
His
look
mother was
weird.
a teenage prostitute, and he was raised mainly by his grandmother. From an early age, he showed a tendency toward deviance, committing petty thefts, and later ended up in a juvenile detention center. As a teenager, he fantasized about strangling women,
What the fuck?
an obsession that became the key to his future crimes. Little's adult life consisted of endless arrests in various U.S. states, from theft and assault to rape. However, for a long time he avoided serious punishment. Little committed his first murder, according to him, in the early 1970s. He chose women from vulnerable segments of society: sex workers, drug addicts, homeless people.
What the fuck?
His method was always the same: strangulation with his bare hands. He considered this method clean, leaving no traces. Almost all of the murders took place in deserted areas, on highways, in motels, on the outskirts of cities.
He often lured his victims with offers of a ride or drugs. Little took
He
particular
looks
pleasure in
like a
controlling
weirdo.
life and death, which he later admitted during interrogations. Despite numerous suspicions, there was a long lack of evidence. In 1984, he was convicted of assault, but served only 2.5 years and soon resumed killing. The bodies of dozens of women were found across the country,
What the fuck?
but the police did not connect the cases. It was not until 2012 that he was arrested in Kentucky for drug possession, and DNA analysis linked him to 3 murders in Los Angeles. This marked the beginning of the largest investigation in FBI history.
Damn.
In 2014, Little was found guilty of 3 murders and sentenced to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. In the following years, he began cooperating with investigators, confessing to dozens of new murders. He described his victims and the locations in detail, and even created portraits of the women from memory.
As a result, the FBI confirmed his involvement in at least 60 murders,
Fuck.
making him the most prolific serial killer in the
60
United
murders
States.
is wild.
Samuel Little's story revealed weaknesses in the American justice system. Bias against victims from marginalized segments of society allowed him to hide for decades. His cases served as a reminder of the importance of paying attention to the disappearance of women who are easy to overlook. Even after Little's death in 2020, the work to identify his victims continues, and his confessions remain an important source for solving old crimes.
2020.
Anthony John Sully was born on January 6, 1944, in San Francisco and grew up in Millbrae. After school, he married and joined the police force, where he served from 1966 to 1974. Early in his career, his colleagues considered him a reliable and conscientious officer. But in his personal life, he was violent. Both of his wives divorced him because of abuse, and in one case, the court issued a restraining order. After leaving the police force, Sally went into private business and rented a warehouse in Burlingame. By the early 1980s, he had become involved with the criminal underworld, pimps and prostitutes, started using drugs, and invested money in an escort agency.
Crazy because
In
he was
February
a cop and all that. He had his shit together.
Sally committed his first murder.
I don't know if being a cop is having
Prostitute
your
Gloria
shit together,
Preble
but
was brought to his warehouse, where he kept her handcuffed for several days,
yeah.
tortured and raped her, and eventually strangled her. Later, while transporting the body, the girl regained consciousness, and he finished her off with an axe.
A few weeks later, he killed 19-year-old Brenda Oakton by shooting her in the back of the head.
Damn.
In the spring, Sally lured pimp Michael Thomas and his common
Whoa, man, amazing car. When did you become a millionaire?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the young...
law wife, Phyllis Melendez, into a hangar, shot them both, and hid their bodies along with Oakton's in metal barrels, which he filled with concrete and dumped in Golden Gate Park. In the summer, he called his ex-girlfriend Barbara Searcy to his place and killed her with a shot to the back of the head,
Damn.
then disposed of the body by dragging it away in his car. His last victim was drug dealer Catherine Barrett. Sully and an accomplice stabbed her multiple times and beat her with a sledgehammer, then
Fuck.
dumped her body on the street.
Beat her with a
He
hammer.
did not
It's crazy.
commit all these
Sledgehammer
crimes
is
alone.
crazy.
Tina Livingston, Kelly Burns, and Michael Francis were involved in the crimes, helping to lure victims, restrain them, and dispose of the bodies. It was their testimony that later played a key role in the investigation. In August 1983, Sullivan was arrested. His fingerprints were found on the barrels containing the bodies, and numerous pieces of evidence were found in the hangars in the car. In 1986, the court found him guilty of 6 murders and sentenced him to death. In his final statement, he declared his innocence, but all appeals were rejected. His accomplices received different sentences. Livingston made a deal and got off with a minimum punishment, while Burns and Francis received life sentences. Sully himself ended up on death row at San Quentin Prison, where he spent almost 40 years. He died on September 8th, 2023, of cancer at the age of 79, without ever seeing his sentence carried out.
Yeah, of course,
His story
bro.
became an example of how a former police officer, once considered a model officer,
Well, shit, I'm about to jump off here. Twitch. Y'all have a good night. You know what I mean? I'm going to catch up with y'all tomorrow. We'll catch up. We'll find another interesting video to watch. All right, gang. Y'all have a blessed night.